Hello, welcome to the episode of AI Ranch. My name is Evalds Urtans, and here we discover how AI is affecting businesses and people around the world. Today, I'm delighted to be with Miķelis Studers, who is the founder of Catchbox, the company that built the world's first throwable microphone. So this is really cool product. You should definitely check it out. So this is a global brand nowadays. He led the company from startup to the global brand with clients like Facebook, Twitter, NASA, Uber, Google, and many others. So his unique product helps to transform how we engage with audience, encourage participation, education, and all sorts of other things. So Catchbox has received also a number of awards like Red Dot Design Award, and has been staying up to date with technologies, with many different product lines and advancements over years. And not only the Miķelis is a business person, he is also a master's in electrical engineering from Aalto University in Finland, where it all started, right? Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as an electrical engineer career, right, what inspired you to pursue this? Why did you choose that career? And how did you ended up where you are now, where it's, I guess, are you still like soldering things and programming things nowadays, or you're running the business?
I wish I would.
You wish you like that?
Yeah.
But what's the story? How do you ended up there?
Right. I wish I would be doing that more, but I don't get to do it that much these days anymore as I'm running the business. We're a fairly small company in terms of number of employees. We're just about around 30. But still, it's a proper company with several teams and plans and so growth plans and all that stuff that I'm mainly doing the running the business part. Indeed, I was studying electrical engineering in Aalto University, which is in Finland. In terms of that path from then to now, there are several stages. One of them, of course, was the university, where I came down to study for the master's degree. And during those studies, I met up with my co-founders, and we ideated on building business. Really, that was a time that was around 15 years ago when and the theme of entrepreneurship was elevated in public knowledge quite high in Finland back then. For example, the now very well-known startup conference Slush.
Yes.
It started back then when in the
First
same
Slush?
Yes, I think I wasn't part of it. It was a small developer meetup or something just across the street from my dorm. In fact, I didn't know about it because I was not much into development, the IT development or anything of that. But as a matter of fact, the people around there were there, and it was what was happening there. And basically, they tried to elevate the entrepreneurship as something good, as something that people should do. I think they have a very similar, identified similar challenges as we would see maybe in Latvia, like how the entrepreneurship is perceived and everything. So they were doing that around that time, and we just happened to be around and participate in many of these events, which happened in the university around entrepreneurship and about it, and all kinds of things. There would happen some hackathons, there would happen startup acceleration programs, they would be some investor events, whatever, pitching nights, all these things, and. Then we basically ideated on any idea of what to do business on. We had all kinds of. The common theme, though, was that we were forming a bunch of people who were really excited about more tangible things, more physical stuff, hardware, and the apps was a big thing back then. As now it is, just apps itself. There was a Microsoft phone, and all those things like this. It was all about how apps are going to make these the next big thing is just create any app that does anything, right? So, and we were a bit not part of that hype at that very moment. But that's just basically from the personalities of our co-founders, and
well, was it the first idea that you come up with the throwable microphone, or did it came later?
It came a bit later, but I forget what are these other ideas. But there are a few.
So you met some of these original co-founders that you are still connected today, right?
Yeah, correct.
And you decided to do something together, right? As a business, because that was the first Slush conferences, first everything. Just was the moment when this entrepreneurial startup like technical companies came this region, right? Like this kind of idea was popular, right?
Yeah, it was definitely in the air. Yeah. And about creating your own company and doing it. So basically, we had that idea out of one of our brainstorming sessions, out of one of those hairy ideas, and we applied with it in a summer entrepreneurship program that was meant for students who would not seek for a summer job, but instead would go and participate in the program and build a company in the summer in a summer break.
Okay.
That was interesting. That kind of program it was. It was 2012, and it was kind of like a hackathon idea. In 2 months, you had to develop a product that's fully functional and actually already in the market.
It's a hardware. Did they give you also some kind of financing to do this, or you try to find yourself resources?
There was some funding involved. Yeah, they gave some really small, grant type of a few thousand euros for that whole summer for spend what you like it for, I think. But you had to work, of course, and you had to participate in the program. Well, all the usual stuff, and we happened to be fairly successful with that.
What did you build?
We actually built the product. We actually built
the Catchbox, the microphone.
Yes, it wasn't very clear that it would be a box. It wasn't very clear that what the shape would be, or what the name would be, or how it would work.
Well, was it throwable?
But it was throwable. The whole
was it soft?
And it was soft. Yes, of course. We went through in these 2 months ideated ideas of a ball or this or that, or should we even build it from scratch? Should we just basically collect everything off the shelf and things like that? And the whole concept, of course, is that what we realized is that there are people in all kinds of environments that seek to really be heard. Really, they want that the message that they're telling is really understood, and that means that they want to engage with their audience, right? And if they're physically in a space, then you need tools, and this is just a quirky idea of how to make that process of sharing your idea and getting some feedback on it instantly just a little bit easier, right? And turns out that kind of need, very many people has that kind of need, and they want to have it in their company, in their once per month, once per week, or maybe every day. They want to have that in universities. They want to do it in events. They want to do it in online events, all kinds of things. And that forms the market as it is now for us, So we just have taken and extrapolated that idea. But the very beginning, very first product has stood as it was pretty much since the first 2 months.
Well, it's very fascinating because nowadays, when I myself also have built a couple of products, some of them were successful, some of them were not, and then some we killed, then we moved on. The one thing that I came to understanding is that I would rather build products that there is a demand in market rather than having from the idea and then try to educate the market that they need it. Like, what was the journey of that? Like, were you able to immediately start selling these, or how long it took for you to actually start selling these?
Yeah, that's we have been quite lucky with the idea that it's self-explanatory. We're jokingly saying that you could bring this cube to your grandma and as long as you say a few sentences what it is, she would get it. And that's what tends to also happen, that people get the very basic idea that we humans want to communicate and express our ideas and get all that feedback and engagement, right? And so that definitely helps us. And in terms of sales, we started that pretty early. Also in the program, I think they pushed us to sell, and we went down into events, the local events in Finland, or even not only in Finland, also abroad. And we started renting the equipment, as one would typically do with this audio equipment, for staging and all these companies that run events. So we started doing that, and just to prove that the product, the very basic idea of the product, is necessary and requested and needed.
But did you say that though like when you tried to rent it, the people immediately understood it and chose that over the traditional equipment, right?
For the purpose, absolutely. For this engagement Q&A, questions and answers, or
but they still need traditional equipment, so
True.
It's more expensive to introduce this nice tool.
Yeah, of course. But you get that very special element in your happening, in your event, in your lecture, in your company event, or all that. Well, we didn't go out to rent it. We just offered it to use for free, probably in the beginning, and then it just people caught eyes were on it, and people were, oh, what is that? It's so amazing! I need to have it, and it's kind of naturally viral if you want. It's not kind of internet viral necessarily, but the same mechanic. People see it, they are interested, and a certain portion of it requests for it. And we didn't do any kind of marketing other than putting the product into use for many years until we actually developed it, a really manufacturable version of it.
So it sounds like that you're saying that you didn't had to put like significant effort on trying to get this in the market. It was organically growing, like the sales grew organically. How like what are we talking about the numbers? Like how many microphones are you producing now, and what was the kind of the growth?
Definitely, it was organic in the true meaning of that word. Well, nowadays we're producing like several thousand of these systems per year and shipping. So somewhere around 5,000, like reaching 5,000. And the system, it's also like it's not only, system is actually something that holds all kinds of microphones that we currently have in the portfolio. It's not the cube throwable microphone is just one part of it, which still does serves the same purpose, but the customers tend to have more needs in terms of the audio hardware whenever they have a need for Catchbox as well. So that basically is how we grow our product portfolio with all the other things that they also need.
Okay, but nowadays you also employ the marketing, right? And or are you still growing organically?
No, of course we're doing like some marketing activities, but I would say that product being in use is still a very strong marketing channel, right? And the growth is that's a different question. We had in between these 10 years, we had COVID, which was a very hard hit, and then so like this whole journey hasn't been a hockey stick all that time in between.
Like a valley, right?
Indeed, it was, and that was an impetus and a push for us to understand that it can't be only the cube throwable microphone. It has to be something more. There are more needs, and this very niche or special occasion when you want to engage with people in your room or whatever is perhaps even a small part of what's happening in terms of time of your day and also in terms of equipment.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, I was we'll get to that. We have tried collaborating a little bit in the past with the terms of AI, and this is an AI podcast. We'll go there. It's just that really fascinating that this kind of unique, simple product, people getting it growing organically. Really, I wouldn't say that's kind of usual story. I think like usually if you have something very unique product, it tends like people not always understand it, but it is understandable. So it's really interesting. So and then who is then the ideal customer, right? Like who do you sell to everyone, or there's like some particular niche?
There's typically a person in all kinds of environments, but typically in there's let's say take a company. There's typically someone who really wants to encourage discussion for terms of growth, for terms of sharing ideas, collaboration, all these good things that we're doing at work, right? And typically there's someone, actually there always is someone who is interested in fostering that thing. In a very small company, that would be a CEO, because there's just no dedicated role. When the company grows, it could be any other role, and then when the company grows even more, there's a dedicated role that is some community manager or somebody HR or somebody who is, and typically those people would seek for tools as well, like how would we communicate in order to make this whole thing easier and faster, right? So it's not about specific tools, but it's about what they're trying to do with that, how they're trying to communicate, and that happens to be also the case in universities. That happens to be in events, of course. And what also is interesting that nowadays, with this development of technologies, more and more normal people, regular people, are exposed to all kinds of, let's say also audio technologies. In our case, we're focusing on that. Meaning that, let's say you're producing a podcast, right?
Yep.
You have some help also, like to arrange the things, but it's not that you're running a huge operation in the background, hiring. Basically, you are able, thanks to the technology development, you're able to do this very high quality audio production and video production, audiovisual production on your own, or with the help of one person or something, right?
We have here Miķelis, good guy, but of course, like we don't have a huge team here, yeah.
Exactly, and that's that means that those are becoming users, and that is what we're trying to do, is actually make the audio, especially professional grade audio, more accessible and more usable for the people. Of course, there's a lot of products that are related to podcasts and something, but when it comes to running a larger event or a space in a company, and I just said, like, there are many people who are interested in that in every company. So then it becomes a challenge.
Must be quite large. Like if as you said, like startup or even mid-sized company, we meet in like the meeting room, right? I see him across the table. I would not throw him a microphone.
Yes, of course, and we're not trying to sell that microphone for that kind of thing. I'm just saying about the few trends that are happening here, that the users becoming more normal because they can. Because you can see that everyone can generate like such a great content, and then there's always someone who's interested in making the conversation more engaging, and this is where we're at. And when they're like all the other so many parameters need to be there, the company needs to be a certain size, they need to have a physical space, they need to be willing to actually, it's not so, that's not everyone. It's not everyone, right? But the need is fairly general and very basic, and for that sector, which would be this running the larger space intuitively, or without any professional assistance, this is where we come in. We have like the equipment that is ready for that. So it's a very similar idea to the Cube, but we have expanded it to basically a larger microphone system currently. And we would be expanding it even more, perhaps in the future, into more things.
Okay, that's a great direction. So how do you decide where to expand, and we have been working previously together on this one AI prototype project where we built this on-device system, but of course it required a little bit of GPU resources, but it was able to remove the noises, speech enhancements. We technically at this stage we could do also like voice conversions and all sorts of other interesting effects could be useful. How do you decide if you proceed with those or with hardware directions? And what was your experience with that experiment? Did you learn something from it?
It all comes from the customers. We speak a lot to the customers, and that's they are located all around the world. We're a truly global company in the sense that, so we really have clientele all around the world, and basically whatever they're trying to achieve, whatever is the way they need to communicate, we want to support that. Of course, keeping in mind our fairly unique product portfolio, which one of the things is Cube, right? Throwable mic. For example, after the COVID, like with all the expansion of remote work and remote collaboration, of course, en masse, the world transitioned into that style of work, right? So everybody knows now what is the Zoom. Now it's a household name, right? So, and that also brings in some challenges for technically, right? How to run the equipment and all those things. So we would be doing that, using the tools such as AI, processing or anything, if that solves something in that use case, right? And for example, in this video conferencing, yes, indeed, like running a video conference in a larger space is challenging, and the most challenging part is audio. So if we can use some smart processing that's real time working on a device that would remove the noises or somehow enhance the speech or do anything, we would do that, right? And many of the companies that work in the same space, like our competitors, or basically the products that our customers also buy, have these kind of tools and processing inside, and we also do. We didn't yet adopt the protocol, or basically the algorithm that we were working on, mostly due to that it needs to be very real time, really low latency, right? But I think that we actually,
I think I remember it was like about 16 milliseconds or something like 16 milliseconds, which sounds like nothing, but actually if you add some wireless delay, right, it becomes in total something that it is not really real time, right? Or
basically there's all kinds of considerations you need to have, like how fast it is, what would be the platform you're running it, the costs associated and things like that. So and once again, that it's always based on what our customers what would be their pains, really, right? And sometimes you need to say a lot of no. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we're exploring a lot of things, a lot of technologies, and then when the right time comes and the right packaging for the product constellation exists.
So you're saying that you don't see such a significant demand from the customers to have all like these AI enhanced features directly in the microphone. Maybe they use it after, right?
Exactly. For example, these kind of features typically built in any of those video conferencing platforms these days. Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, others probably as well. So we wouldn't be adding anything to them if that was built into the hardware. That was that thinking. But at the same time, we could come up, let's say, or we're exploring the ideas of, let's say, expanding what our product does, and then those kind of tools or algorithms would make sense to be inside the product at that moment.
Right? Also, I'm just wondering, like, I feel that you have all this strong sense of meaning for your product, right? You say that this is creating the collaboration, the engagement, right? All of these things, not just being just hardware. It feels that you have developed over years the story, right? Which is quite strong. So I'm just wondering, like AI could also be used for like to analyze the engagement, right? To do all sorts of things which are not like classically, just transcript, speech enhancement, like very simple things, but really to make the product better for the mission, right? Do you see something like that on the roadmap, or any examples, or you can imagine how this could work?
Absolutely, this is great. Like good things come when two previously uncombined things come together in a meaningful way, right? For the customer, for example. Yes, I think that there's a lot of value in teaching a user, for example, how to become a better public speaker, for example, or adding some services that would help enhance with tools and technologies.
Suggest questions, give awareness of maybe how much I'm speaking, like if I'm speaking not clearly. Like there's like lots of things you could do, right, with AI. How are you looking at it? So they're saying that you will do those things only when the customers see value of them, or are you willing to introduce something like you did with the product before the demand?
No, absolutely. Like we want to be, we can be. We don't have to be reactive. No, that's not the point. But you were saying before that. What were you saying for it?
Yeah, I was just saying the main thing is that the AI could be used not only in these very simple ways that are very generic for any microphones, audios, whatever, like transcriptions, the speaker identification, voice enhancement, but could actually be used in very, very tailored ways to make your product fulfill better its mission. So, as I was saying, I don't know exact interface how this could work, but basically it could, if somebody is not sure how to ask the right question, it could help them to form the questions. It could help give the awareness. Somebody is talking for 2 minutes, he automatically understands that and starts vibrating, whatever, things like that.
Well, so there are two things here. How to introduce new things into the product. It's definitely not a reactive process. Whenever you ask, we're gonna make. No, it's of course the product development. We're very much tuning our organization, our company to develop products in a sense before somebody asks them. If you put very, very simply. At the same time, what we want to do, we have to be. We in some way we want to be the best in class or in the world to do something, right? For example, let's say transcription or anything. These exist, right? And it's just not sure whether, because it's a completely new thing for us internally, for such a small company to add, that we would be having a meaningful, not even best, but even a good tool, right? Because there are so many platforms that do such a thing. You can typically, this audio signal anyways go into the computer, which does that thing, right? Transcription being, or giving you suggestions, or whatever it may be. That for us, that would be an additional thing. We would still be doing the hardware and all these other things, and then additionally, we would need to be doing this. And so it has to be, we have to be fairly good at it, and clearly for some of those tasks that you're describing, there are so many other very good players at the moment, right?
Yeah,
so that's what I'm kind of meaning.
So I understand. Hearing you want to stay the best at your product, at your category, right? What you do. I'm just thinking this is not disjoint sets of features. I think you could probably stay the best by keep pushing on that vision front as well, but also on the AI, on the quality of existing just audio processing, right? So, or have you seen any good examples outside of like what is right now trending? What is around the corner? What do you see will be in audio processing something where AI or technology, change these things, or everything will stay as it is now?
That's a good one. Yeah. It's
Will we always throw Catchbox like that? Maybe we'll just have a Catchbox room where I can sit anywhere, say something anywhere, right? Where do you see technology going in this microphone?
like for example, I think it's almost cuts through to the question of values, because certainly what we see is that with anything that we do, we always want to keep the human in center. By no actions we want to cut out a human being from anything. In fact, that's the most valuable thing. That real connection, really being in a space. We believe that nothing can replace that. So we wouldn't be going in those directions where it kind of would lead to that, where make a person redundant. I can see that somebody would do that, and that's actually completely fine. Let's say Meta vision of Mark Zuckerberg, of this virtual space, effectively, where everyone is kind of joining via avatar, and you basically
I think they tried to do these concerts in Meta, like these metaverse, like famous musicians, and there were those flops. I don't remember exactly what was the musician, but like nobody came to the to the concert. Like tried to sell tickets. Everybody wants to go to concert in real life, not in metaverse.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, and again, it can have certain useful utility. Those kind of ideas. I just can't see the value of really desperately trying to replace human interaction with that, and therefore we're staying away from anything that goes that direction. Not because it wouldn't be valuable or would be. No, we just don't do like there's and the point is that there certainly will be people who really want to do it in the human way, and we will serve them, right? And it would be quite. So I can imagine a critique for my point of view in that. But look, the market is so much bigger there, right?
Yeah.
I don't care.
The
market is big here as well.
Totally see that you're very focused on that area. Like, but again, turning back, like, okay, regardless of that, some other aspects of AI, audio processing, microphones, or even maybe in your business processes, do you see something already happening?
Yeah. In terms of audio processing, I think there's a lot to do with smart enhancement of the speech, or just making it better in many ways. Again, there's a fine line, right? But of where you start to synthesize everything, change the meaning of what people said and things like that. That's what I could see. That again, I think the most value can be added if you, let's say, have a really specific domain expertise, let's say audio, and can really see where like some traditional technologies are just not gonna make it, or they're very expensive to do, or very slow, or whatever. And then you could use new digital technologies and maybe machine learning or any of these things. So that's like as generic. It's fairly generic answer, I know, but I can see that we are working with some of really good audio experts in the field, and the level of ideas when they come up with something what we could do is that's you can see that it would really add value. for example. And
Can you share anything, or this is like all secret?
well, we just also, for example, our product that just came out like a month ago, we're using our own developed digital signal processing algorithms that are based on already are using some of that stuff. Not downright, I think, machine learning yet, but we definitely have now space for it, maybe in our processing units and things like that. But it's already something, let's say, that works. For example, in audio processing, you can just like simply enhance a signal, do some equalization, for example.
Equalization. So you can,
for example, right?
Scream in the microphone, or
yeah. So we're approaching it from a different angle. That it's not just boosting some frequencies, but instead, the digital signal processor is tuned for a sound profile, a voice profile that's we think is a good sound. Right? And then dynamically makes the level of change is dynamic, right? It's not always putting you 2 times more bass, but it just has a reference and then tries to match it. You know, so it's already kind of a little bit towards the direction. It's fairly simple and not that overly sophisticated, but for example, in the future, a machine learning tool could do that and adapt it even more and maybe you could be like, I want to sound like Darth Vader or whatever, and then it would match
voice
that.
Conversion,
Voice conversion, things like that. Again, of course, this is very like hypothetical, theoretical, some ideas. But that could happen to him.
I don't think they are actually that hypothetical. Like we worked with those pilots. It was already like 3 years, 4 years ago, 3 years something. So nowadays already everything has moved forward. I believe we're very close to products like that, and maybe your product could be first in the as a pioneer. You already were the first one that encouraged this collaboration with this unique idea. It could go even farther. But then from daily life, from the business like processes, do you see the AI, Gen AI tools coming in? Do they help you like designing things, marketing, planning? Do you have experience on that as well already?
Well, fairly rudimentary at this point, I would say, but we of course encourage we're using the usual suspects, so mostly for the research, you know, it would be Perplexity, Venice, and those kind of things. The search, I think, really search, I think is
better.
It's so much better.
Yeah, it's still kind of funny that I meet time to time people who try Perplexity. Maybe that's because people who are not engineers, maybe not that dedicated to make it work better. But basically they say, I write something, it didn't come up exactly what I wanted. In Google, I go back to Google, I can find it there. But it's basically, if you kind of, first of all, buy the pro version, right? And then you adapt it, how you need to formulate the right tokens, right, the words, right, because the first one, the verb, right, and then the next one, and then the way how give examples, it is better, right?
Yeah, and I would encourage go and watch your videos on LinkedIn where you had I learned it from there, like, wow.
Yeah, I need to make more videos. I found just recently that the people were starting asking me how to make computer programming much faster using Cursor. There's already new platform like tool. You can do it so fast programming in that one, and there's, if you put these things in the right order, like literally, you can program web applications. Let's say a couple of hours that previously took like a couple of days. Like it's amazing, and things like that. Like if you learn them, it's like game changer, right?
It definitely is, because not only it's like faster or something like that, or more quality, but you actually can find things that you wouldn't describe in the Google format. So it makes a difference. You know, I wouldn't say like some kind of like, this saved the world from hunger type of thing, but definitely like a big change in mindset, and it's going to be all that way very soon.
And you can imagine that in future there will be more specialized platforms for different like academic research, I believe there's already semantic scholar going in that direction, but there will be even better platforms like that, not just Perplexity, but others. So then going to towards the end, like so you saw O1, the new GPT model, right? There is the IQ distribution, and if we measure like it's a bell curve, right? Like the most people are in the middle, and then all of these GPT-4, all of the models, even Cloud, they are on the left side when they gave the some of these formalized IQ tests. So it's like I think it was like 80, 70 something, and then GPT 010, right? It's on the other side. It's like it is. More intelligent in those tests than average humans. So it's like over 120. So and we could easily imagine that soon these models, they're not only models, but the whole system, how it recursively feeds itself, makes it in symbolic language, process it to the logical processing, whatever, and it will become much more intelligent, like Einstein level intelligence, right? So in that kind of world, like how you can stay relevant, like how you can stay competitive as an engineer, as an like a student, as a professional, right? What do you think? What advice could you give anyone to survive in that kind of world, right?
Right. Yeah. Who knows? That's the good. That's the answer. But again, back to this human aspect. I think there's certain areas certain things that you can't emulate, or nor should you. Or I mean, some people would desperately try to. But those are things that would we typically describe like emotion or empathy, which comes down like maybe in the business life or daily life, more like things that anything to do with a human touch. Well, certainly I certainly haven't thought about it enough, but there's a human aspect that would be valuable, and therefore in many ways irreplaceable. And therefore, if you focus on that and try to distill from your daily work, what is that part that really is, wouldn't be just automated because it can't, then I think you're safe. Again, what that exactly is, I would need to perhaps think a little bit more of that. That's how I see
so
these things developing.
Nobody knows the human aspect. As long as we're not transforming into some kind of cyborgs or whatever, it's not going away. We still sell to humans, not to machines, right? Product is sold to human, not to machine. There is something, it's a puzzle. It's opportunity probably also for many new entrepreneurs. How to live in this world, how to figure out the products, the education path, and all of the other things. But I would be definitely optimistic as well. I think that probably like if you would have like an Einstein as your assistant, right, as a coworker, or even you could build a company from many Einsteins, right? You could build great stuff very fast, much more stuff, like much more interesting products which you never thought about. Explore universe. There's a lot of things we could do.
So, yeah. For example, what comes one thing to my mind is the good old creativity. In a sense that what makes joke a joke, I don't think it's necessarily just that the thing that is said. It's also reacting to the situation in a very human way, right? That makes the joke. And so I have a very hard time imagining what would be an AI stand-up comedian.
I would challenge
Will
that.
be the best stand-up comedian in the world.
I think it could let's look back at this
Oh.
like 5 years from now.
Let's-
Might
yeah.
might not be that unrealistic, but still, I think there is a place for humans. There is a path forward. We just need to look for it. And I like your dedication on being the best and working for humans. So for sure. You're not going into metaverse, right? The virtual spaces. You have this physical product. You have this mission. So really happy to talk with you today. And yeah, I hope that in some near future also your product will be enhanced by AI to make human experience better. And we already started working on that some time ago, and we'll see how it develops. Okay.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you for watching this episode. As a gratitude for our work, please subscribe, like, share, and see you in the next one.